Bad movie drinking game. 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 Bad movie drinking game.
Oh no, we watched Superman 4! Hi, I'm Kurt, and this is Bad Movie Drinking Game. I'm here with my friends Franklin, Marcus, and Sam. We just watched Superman 4, the quint unessential film in the original series.
The franchise breaker.
The franchise breaker with the original cast that you all know and loved and forgot that they did 3 and then 4. I highly recommend to anyone who has any remote interest on the subject, Superman vs. Hollywood. It goes through the entire history of Superman on film. So the Salkins were not quite ready to make another movie of this, but they were quite ready to license the rights out to it to someone else to make so they could get a quick royalty buck on it. So essentially, the Golan Globus run Cannon Group were these two hilariously shysterish Israeli cousins who bought the Cannon Group and proceeded to run it like a Ponzi scheme, always booking further profits on movies they had not made yet. They figured out a deal to make Superman 4, and then they took the majority of the money they got to make Superman 4 and made a bunch of other shitty movies on it. And then they were supposed to have $40 million from Warner Brothers to make Superman 4. They put 17 on Superman 4, which had to have all gone in Gene Hackman's pocket, I'm thinking. They put 17 million on that, and then spread it around their other films, hoping that they could maybe, get out of the red. They didn't, and that's why the Cannon Group does not exist anymore. They enticed Christopher Reeve, like, hey, we'll let you second unit direct and write the story for it. And he said yes. And he said, why not have Superman take away all the nuclear weapons? When you watch the film, it's pretty tangential to anything that's happening.
There's a scene in the farm.
The Heartland is dying, people.
Yeah.
Well,
Superman can't fix that.
No, and he doesn't even try to.
No. He hits a baseball and he leaves, and he never goes back.
He goes there to open up a secret doorway that has a glowing, tiny volcano of light and a crystal in it with a voicemail from his mom. There's a voicemail he forgot to listen to from his mom that says, use this crystal wisely. You can only use it once. Okay, that's going to factor in later, right?
And there's also a bunch of old guys that we've never met before.
Yeah, he goes to the Fortress of Solitude later, and it's not just his parents. It's just a series of old retirees yelling at him.
I think what they were trying to do is convince him not to interfere in the arms race. The way they go about it is just berating him and saying, you're fucking up everything. You're a horrible son. Why don't you call?
It's basically a Jewish grandmother yelling at her children. We cut to Lois Lane going back to the paper. The Daily Planet has been bought out by some sort of Rupert Murdoch-esque business mogul who is now trying to turn the paper into a salacious newspaper with, he's got tits on the cover. They won't have any of that at the Daily Planet. And that's basically the focus of the first 20 minutes of the film. Muriel Hemingway really wants to sleep with Clark Kent. Margot Kidder is just trying to stay awake and sober in her scenes.
I don't know if she's trying to stay sober.
Okay, they're trying to film the scenes before the real Margot Kidder comes out.
I think it's going to be very good news.
Oh, Clark, you always overreact. It won't be that terrible.
She, by the way, has been studying French. That's a thing that they do for a while.
Because she was going to Paris until their budget got cut.
You mean my trip to Paris is canceled?
That's right.
Which could be a meta statement about the entire film.
I never thought about that, actually. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor's no-good nephew, Lenny Luthor, played by a very young post-Ducky John Cryer. Still wearing some of the getup, though. Crazy pants, a lot of high-top shoes that don't fit.
Vanilla Ice's hair.
Vanilla Ice's hair, and his catchphrase is, oh no, and he talks like a valley person.
What the hell is this, and how the hell do I get to see your seat?
You're on the wrong
Drink.
He breaks out Lex from the narrowly guarded rock quarry.
with both of the security guards.
all both of them. As the cops get into the car to explore the sound system, they put on headphones. But this car has a remote control device inside of it, and they run them off a cliff. Lex breaks out, and he's gonna kill Superman. We cut to a small child, goaded on by his teacher, who seems to teach a class only on writing essays. Her chalkboard on it says, write 200 words on the Statue of Liberty.
She wants them to write their congressman
Oh,
specifically. But the best part about that entire scene is that the report starts, and before anything is actually reported, she turns the TV off.
Yeah. Well, in order for the U.S. to stay number one in the arms race, we're going to have to stay number one in the arms race. And that's it. That's all we know. And a heavily dubbed child named Jeremy.
The entire classroom
The entire
is
class.
dubbed.
The entire classroom is
Whichever
dubbed.
one, yes. I didn't have sound that day.
But they did, because the cutscene had them not dubbed.
My theory is that they filmed that at the Cinecittà in Italy, right by the airport, where all the Italian films are, so that they just dubbed everybody in the style of that. So Jeremy says, "Why don't we write Superman?" They also chastise him for like, "Who are you gonna write, Santa Claus?" And they're like, he's like, "No, Superman!" Which you have pointed out on several previous viewings of this. They chastise him as if Superman would be in the same league as that.
Does Superman not exist to these kids? We're watching a Superman movie.
He sends his letter to Superman, delivered by a sloshed Lois Lane.
Wait.
I've got a letter here for Superman.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Superman gets mail here?
Who off and on throughout the film will occasionally just slur dialogue like nobody's business. Superman says, "Yeah, you're right. I could stop this." So he stops off. He goes to a thoroughly bored UN meeting. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna get rid of all the nuclear weapons. See ya." And then and he leaves. And then at some point through all this discussion about the takeover of the Daily Planet, of this, apparently the U.S. and Russia just decide to launch their missiles. Apparently there actually is a nuclear war on the brink that we didn't know about, even though they previously had chastised the sensationalist headline of "We're on the brink." Except apparently we're at war with the moon.
They're just firing the rockets into space. They're not
At
not aimed at any
nothing.
country. They're just launching them into the black void of space. And where Superman is luckily able to intercept them and throw them into his giant
Because he was hanging out.
stationary net.
He's puts all the ICB, all but one, I'm assuming, because we need that one later. All but one of the ICBMs into a net, which he then secures and then swings into the sun. Gone. But meanwhile, Lex Luthor gets some startup capital from some typically evil villains. But he decides, hey, I can go steal Superman's hair from a museum, which is holding up a
That's a 1,000-pound ball. Just holding it up. And he goes in there with bolt cutters.
just smashes the glass and snip, 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 snip. There we go. And he takes Superman's hair, does some genetic hoodoo, which turns
Lots of beakers that just have foam and smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they make an evil Superman clone that is nuclear powered because they attach it to another nuclear missile, shoot it into space. Superman goes, oh, well, I got one more. And he throws that into the sun, and the reaction with the sun, as we all know, immediately reacts with genetic material and makes a nuclear powered clone.
This triggers a man baby.
Yes, a nuclear man, so to speak, who looks like he would do incredibly well at a gay bar in the 70s. I mean, like his costume, like it's
pretty Studio 54.
the next 30 minutes of the film is basically just fighting.
Pretty much, they go into space, they go back to Earth, they go into space, they go back to Earth.
Oh.
They go back into space, they go back to Earth.
Oh yeah, and Nuclear Man and Superman fight. And they fight, and they fight, and they have magic powers. Like, we all know that Superman has a very distinct range of powers that are a little crazy, but they're well defined. He can fly. He's got super strength. He can shoot laser beams out of his eyes. In this movie, what are some of the things that Superman and Nuclear Man they both got straight up telekinesis?
Yeah, apparently.
They can just make things happen
Can restore architecture that has just been destroyed
with his eyes.
Yeah.
with his eyes. Just by
With
looking at it.
with blue eye lasers.
Yeah.
That makes it different. That's
It, like, it rebuilds it like nanotechnology or something.
constructovision, I guess.
They tear the Statue of Liberty out of the ground and then put it back in one piece.
Nuclear
Man.
just goes
He just goes
into the
into
volcano and
This is
it
the man
immediately
motion.
explodes.
Superman just lasers the top of a mountain off and then pops the cork back in.
He's returning the Statue of Liberty to a spot.
right.
Nuclear Man just goes,
He's
yeah,
got
like right on the
retractable.
neck. And it gives him super cancer.
It makes him sleepy. It just makes him sleepy and sneezy for
And
a while.
Then it makes him super old. Like out of nowhere.
And he's like 90 years old all of a
like
sudden.
that.
Yeah, he loses the hairpiece that he's wearing. His cape falls off on the Statue of Liberty. Someone gives that to the newspaper, and then Lois takes it to Clark. And he's got his cape now, and he just grabs the crystal. Oh no! What is he gonna do? How is it gonna work? Is he gonna use it to defeat Nuclear Man? Now no. He just shows back up again, fully healthy, completely unexplained. You just eat the crystal, or you
hold it and get your cape back.
By these powers combined, I'm once again Superman. No explanation whatsoever. They fight again. This time, he throws him in a nuclear reactor, which powers the city immensely. And Superman wins. Sends Lex Luthor back to jail, and then he sends Lenny Luthor to Boys Town, a famous Catholic orphanage, which famously laundered a ton of money. Lenny is going to do great there. He's already got the criminal influence. He's going to do great with all the money they have. Then, my favorite thing, he goes...
The speech.
He has a press conference. He gives this speech where he basically says, I'm sorry I took away all the nuclear weapons. You'll get peace when you want peace. Nothing that he has done has caused Nuclear Man. It's literally like he could have done anything.
And then he just goes back on his word because, I thought about it and you guys don't want it bad enough.
You don't want it bad enough. We're going to let you have it being on the brink forever. He even says that. How are things? Good versus evil, on the brink. Same as always. Like, oh, that's right.
So you didn't do a goddamn thing.
We need more nuclear annihilation nightmares for a little while.
But the important thing is that as he addresses the very small crowd that is gathered to witness him, there is a horse that's very intent. It's just front and center, very stoic horse staring at Superman, judging him.
Also, we get a little finale to the Daily Planet subplot where Barry White, whose entire role in this film is to get angry and walk out of the shot in every scene that he's in.
While spouting out one line of absurd dialogue.
Single line.
You're late, kid. Sorry, Mr. White. Won't happen again. Ha!
I'm done for this.
He says, I talked to the bankers in this town, which means nothing. And he's like, and I bought all the shares left of the Daily Planet out there, and now you're a minority stakeholder, evil businessman, which means that Perry White has totally violated securities law that has been around since the 1940s. He is going to jail now.
He would be, but this movie was made entirely with the mind of people thinking that 7-year-old Marcus would not know that.
That's basically the crux of Superman 4. There are some hilarious moments that happen again and again throughout this film, and they are going to be the centerpiece for the drinking game for this one. Why don't you start us off?
Basically, the first part has to do with Superman's powers. He displays plenty of powers in this movie, and they frequently don't make sense.
Not at all.
Not even in the sense that, like, oh, I've never seen this power. Sometimes they just, physics don't work.
Chief point being whenever he restores the Wall of China by just looking at it. There are frequent parts that aren't specific to his powers or Nuclear Man's powers, but they still have a part in that displays a sudden lack of physics.
Like
for
Superman
instance,
falling sideways.
yeah, there's a part where Superman, he just, whenever he's flying with Lois, and he just sort of lets her go, and she just kind of, But even worse is whenever Nuclear Man takes Mariel Hemingway into space.
Which we did not even talk about.
We didn't even talk about that.
Wow.
He decides, hey, I'm going to take the woman you most love. Not Lois Lane, by the way. But he decides he's going to take her into space. And she can breathe in space.
She isn't fried to a crisp while leaving
Yeah,
it.
nothing happens to her
Her
in
blood
space.
doesn't boil. She doesn't run
I
out
also
of
like
air.
the fact that his feet were leaving burn marks, but he wasn't burning her while touching.
Nope.
Okay, now this one's a biggie because every time there's a flying scene in this movie, it is over stock footage. But the worst and the most notable, and you're gonna take a drink every time you see stock footage, especially when the buffalo go, because like just take 2 shots for that one. There is this particular shot of Christopher Reeve as Superman flying towards the camera that is used over and over again 10 times in this movie.
We counted. It is
Just
the
He
same.
counted.
Same shot. Fuck! And 10, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes it's
It
in
doesn't
the,
matter where
it's
it
in
is.
the
It's the
subway.
same shot every time. Even back to back, they don't give a shit. That's how little of a shit they give. There you go.
Mine, I've mentioned before. Anytime, and it's not every scene, but anytime Margot Kidder is clearly inebriated, take a drink. She slurs words. Her eyes are bloodshot as could be at times in this film. She is completely drunk, and it's within the scene. There was one moment you're like, "Oh, Margot Kidder's got her act together," and she's acting, and then the next minute it's just, and anytime you see that, take a drink.
Basically, my rule is anytime John Cryer uses his famous catchphrase, "Oh no."
Oh no! Oh no! What's that? Oh no!
Anytime he says that, all right. Do we have any more obvious dubbing? Any obvious dubbing? Anytime a character is obviously dubbed in this film, a drink. Another topic I want to do is if this film were to win an Academy Award in an alternate universe where Academy Awards award something that is great or distinctive about this film, what Academy Award would this movie win?
I already got mine.
Okay.
Okay. In the category of Best Drapery,
Go
Superman 4 wins for the scene on the moon where you see the folds of space itself. It just edges out Mortal Kombat, which has holes in it, so I mean, it's not even in the
The
same league.
scenes on the moon, if you look very closely.
You don't even have to look closely if it's the Blu-ray. It's so goddamn clear that you literally just see bunches of folds off to the side in the vacuum of space. Look, curtains in the background. But they did not straighten it out.
My Academy Award would be script plot contrivance because it has the greatest escape I have ever seen in a film to get out of a circumstance. This is during the double date where he's having to be in 2 places at once. Clark Kent gets stuck on a luggage cart and she's like, "Clark, come back." "I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this cart. Bye."
The guy's just walking by and scoops him up on it somehow.
Which would be the greatest way. I can't come into work today. I'm stuck on a luggage cart, and I don't know when he'll stop pushing.
Baby, I know, your water broke and I'd be on my way, but this luggage cart, I mean, I'm on the other side of town now.
I'd have to give it to best Dada set decoration ever done. The only thing missing in the background is just a wall-mounted urinal. Like I said, slot machine, just a giraffe at the best moment.
Like a
It
giant horse statue, which
Just
goes
horse
into the theme of
statue.
the
chairs that look like people, just girls in like gold lame dresses and crinolines, and just the most batshit insane grouping of things that would never go together.
I would say the award that would be bestowed upon it would be for schlubbiest, most minimal effort put forth by a villain. Because Lex Luthor does literally nothing in this movie. He creates Nuclear Man, says, "Sick, boy," and that's about it. That's all he does.
He has cocktail parties with
Yes,
the
he
rest of the
just
movie.
hangs out. All Lex Luthor does is create someone. You can't really go to jail for that, because, I mean, there's no precedent for it.
Yeah, this is before the human cloning laws went into effect.
Oh,
So
by far.
he's kind of getting away scot-free on this. Although Superman does say, "You've violated the laws of nature now, too." Superman 4, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Once again, so when you watch this movie, you will drink when Margot Kidder is sloshed, whenever Superman or Nuclear Man flies in front of stock footage, whenever there's obvious dubbing, whenever John Cryer cries, "Oh no!" and whenever powers or physics don't make any sense within the film. I heavily encourage anyone with a group of friends and a poop load of booze to please sit down, watch this film. If you're gonna watch, if you like the Superman movies, you might as well watch this one too. If you made it
You've
through
gone this far.
you've gone this far, you need to see this. For Bad Movie Drinking Game, I'm Kurt.
Franklin!
Marcus.
Sam.
It's been wonderful. We'll see you next time.
3, 2, 1.
Earth be